Welcome back. We're continuing on the MSCS train here because all 9 school board seats could be up for election next year, depending on the Shelby County Commission's vote at their Monday meeting. Resolution aligns the MSCS school board elections with the commissioners' elections in terms of office and term limits. That would put all 9 school board seats on the 2026 ballot. It already passed at a committee meeting and goes before the full commission Monday. Commissioners Brittany Thornton, Michael Whaley, Mick Wright, and Amber Mills sponsored it. So here's where it gets interesting. You're looking at your screen. These are the 9 current board members. School board seats have a max of 2 4-year terms, so 8 years total if re-elected. So come 2026, Michelle McKissick and Joyce Dorse Coleman will be termed out. Amber Hewitt Garcia and Keith Williams will be finishing their first term and are up for re-election regardless. That leaves the newest members who were elected in 2024 having to run for re-election just halfway into their first term. That's Stephanie Love, Sable Ote, Tawana Murphy, Tamarcus Porter, and Natalie McKinney, who all but Tamarcus Porter voted to oust Fagans earlier. That's just a side note. Now, Tawana, we'll start with you. You're the former school board member here. How do you feel like this could shake up the board's dynamic, especially when it comes to getting elected?
Well, you know, it gave me some concern that it seemed mostly the Republicans are sponsoring this. That was the first concern to me. And then number 2, I have been on the board once when we had to stagger terms. And what they did, the state gave us the benefit of the doubt to say from here on, you will have 2 terms or be staggered. Someone would get a longer term to get it staggered, but not shortened. So the approach seems to be punitive to me. I'm not against term limits. I'm really not. But I would hope that you would look at how do we have term limits, and from here on, you will have term limits. And they will start at this point, so they will align with Shelby County elections. I just think I don't want anything punitive, like we're trying to have the last say at the vote we didn't like, because there are always votes that we don't like in the public. There are always votes. I'm not very comfortable with the XAI vote, but I'm trying to live with it and look at the end result. And that's what I think we have to do with citizens.
Yeah, Otis, what do you make of this?
Well, I mean, I agree somewhat to this. I am supportive of term limits. I am supportive of having the elections coincide with the Shelby County commissioners, and I think it would be the county mayor too at that point. I'm supportive of that primarily because I think it would increase, if only just a little, of the turnout. Last year's turnout was woeful, and a lot of people in the public saw that people who got elected, nobody knew who they were, and they only got elected by a handful of votes. And so I think, in theory, this can increase the turnout for that. But it will be shortchanging some people who spent a lot of money to run for a 4-year term, and it's shortened to 2 years. That's the downside to it. But overall, I'm in favor of the effort, whether it's generated by Republicans or not. They need to be aligned with the county commission.
Yeah. And I share both viewpoints that you guys have. You know, why not wait until the next election cycle happens for those board members that would be affected, right? But I can tell you this, the public are going to come out whenever the election is, regardless of what the decision is on the changes that could occur. I think what we saw over the last 12 months and year in terms of the public engagement regarding the school board, this is the first time, I think, in a long while that we've seen this level of engagement from the public in regards to education. So I think regardless of what decision is made, the public will show up this time.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more on that.
Yeah, we could talk more about this, but there's another big issue here with the school district we want to talk about, because it's never a good sign when local districts lose federal funding. Unfortunately, that is the case for MSCS preschool program. MSCS will essentially no longer hold the $30 million federal contract with the Office of Head Start. That money now in the hands of the nonprofit organization Porter Leith. MSCS statement said it will affect more than 23 contracted child care providers and will now operate voluntary pre-kindergarten classrooms under an unblended model. The Head Start program prepares and supports children from low-income households for school up to age 5. About 3,000 children in Shelby County depend on it. Tawana, and I will just let you loose on this.
This is regrettable because they really lost a lot of talent. You work in a team in putting together a package like this for federal approval. And so many of the people who worked on that team were terminated by the former superintendent. And the former superintendent decided that she did not want to, well, I understand they wanted to hire a contractor to help them since they had lost so much talent who could work on the grant, and decided not to get an outside contractor. And that outside contractor then went to Porter Leaf and they hired them. Now that's all, everything my sources tell me. And if that is the case, we lost an opportunity under the last superintendent, but it's gone now. The good saving grace is that Porter Leaf is an outstanding institution.
Right.
And they have a solid reputation and they care about kids, and I wish them well.
Any impact you think this might have on families?
You know, my question that I have is, and I agree with you, Porter Leaf is a fantastic organization, but within this transition, are there any students lost in the mix? I think there was something, I read a number, about 300 or so, if that actually turns out to be true. But that's my concern is, in this transition, how many students will we no longer be able to serve through this transition potentially?
And I'll just talk about this at a macro level because Tawan has broken down the detail. At a macro level, Head Start is vitally important. My mother, God rest her soul, was the director of a Head Start program down in Mississippi way back in the 70s. And so I can attest to how important it is. The name speaks for itself. It's giving students, these young people, a head start onto a quality education. So at a macro level, I'm just saying that it's vitally important. Porter Leaf does have a great reputation. They used to work with the school board, but that contract, I think, was voided back in 2021. So we'll just have to see how it works, but I'm okay with Porter Leaf taking control of it, even though it may hurt the school system.
Unfortunately, we gotta go. We gotta come back. That's all we had. We'll be right back with more after this. Stick around.